Welcome back, everybody, to the World Series of Sealed. It's time for our second match to begin between Firebat and Reynad. You can see behind us, they're sitting down, getting ready to make their initial bets before the match begins. We didn't get to take a look at Reynad's deck list, but we do know his classes available with the Druid, the Mage, and the Warlock. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys have gotten. How confident are they in their decks? And we'll see ultimately what they're choosing to say.
Yeah, especially after they saw the first round. Maybe that influenced their decisions on how much to bet or how their matches are supposed to go. So interested to see, and these are the two players that I admire the most in this tournament.
Yeah, that's right. They have some of the most experience in Sealed. They are the winners of the previous Sealed event, and we'll see how they're going to get off on the first foot. Let's head over to Wade, the dealer, down on the stage floor, and see what Reynad and Firebat are going to bet for the first match.
Welcome back, guys. We do have Firebat and Reynad here. Firebat's going to be playing on his Paladin for Game 1, and Reynad on his Warlock. So as the blue player, Firebat, you are going to have the first bet option. So you have the option to bet up to 75. But first off, let's go ahead and put our 150 antes out. All right.
I'm going to check.
All right, so the action is on Reynad. So he's going to bet the maximum of 75.
That's the max?
Yeah.
All right, I'll call.
Firebat calls. All right, guys. So we're going to have Game 1. Go ahead and head back to your stations and start that matchup.
I guess Reynad was slightly disappointed that he couldn't bet more.
Yeah. That's the max, I guess.
Yeah. I like that Reynad also did action instead of saying how much he bet.
Yeah.
Kind of forcing the dealer to be like, yeah, you tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell him how much. Let actions speak louder than words. It's good.
The swagger. But yeah, that's so that's going to be a total pot for the first match of 225 for each player. So 450 total going into game number 1 after that 150 ante.
I'm surprised that Firebat chose to pass the action over to Reynad first, and then just choose to call no matter what. So I think he was more evaluating what Reynad would do, and then just react based off that. I think he likes being in that control.
Yeah. You don't want
it's interesting.
Yeah, especially if you pick your first deck, you're probably not going to fold. Folding will probably come if you get to game number 2 when you start to run out of coins. But in the first match, the first game of the first match, probably not going to see any folds because you just wouldn't have picked that deck in the first place. You would have picked a better deck.
Let's see what's in store. Warlock versus Paladin. I would have to imagine that Reynad does love more of that zoo-esque approach, and that's a pretty interesting hand. 2 Dark Peddlers. It's really oh, wow. Chow into the Peddler.
What a curve.
I mean, looks like Firebat has his own curve, but it's a little bit less powerful than what Dark Peddler can do. It seems Dark Peddler is very explosive.
Yeah.
Another Mortal Coil, but also an opportunity to pick up some utility cards. Ends up picking up the Mortal Coil because it just seems like the best individual value.
Yeah, Blitz-Out Corsair can end up effectively being an ooze in some situations if there's a true server champion, but highly situational, whereas Mortal Coil will find uses a lot more of the time.
Reynad's got some really good cards in his Warlock. And I've seen him build all kinds of sealed versions of Warlock, and they all seem to gravitate towards a mid-range style approach. This also could hint towards the fact that he might have legendaries like Jiraxis and Mal'Ganis.
Yeah. And you can see that the players, when they open up with the deck, it's usually I mentioned earlier, their first string deck, which means the deck that they allocated the most resources to. If you only have 2 Zombie Chows, you want to put it in the deck where you think is going to take the most wins. You could try and split it up, but a lot of times players end up having one deck that's more powerful than the other 2, and I think we're seeing those decks for these players.
Yeah, not that big of a surprise to see Firebat start off with the Paladin. We kind of mentioned that it feels like his most consistent version because he's got some powerful cards. I like that he's also trying to flood the board and answer.
Oh, man.
That's probably one of the best cards Reynad could have picked up for turn 4 play, but he does have 2 of them. He has got Void Caller, which can pull out a demon, but he's also got Implosion, both really valid. And I think the number one thing he's concerned about is a potential consecration. If he ends up going for Implosion, Haunted Creeper is exposed to it, and he knows that Firebat probably plays Paladin because you've got cards like Consecration.
This Warlock deck from Reynad is incredibly powerful. Just by seeing, the first 8 cards, I suppose, but seems really strong. So
yeah, It can be pretty nutty, to use a word that Reynad likes to drop on her stream. Firebat also has some pretty powerful cards. Like Seal of Champions is no slouch. It's a card that allows you to pick up really powerful trades, and Divine Shield can't be slept on.
Yeah.
Oh boy, he's gonna go for the Void Caller pop, and now Floating Watcher has been revealed. He can't actually deal with it either, so he ends up just passing.
And a Mookless Champion once again.
He loves that card.
And well, when you know you're going to be hero powering a lot in the late game,
Yeah.
It just makes it so much cleaner. Warlock is one of those classes where you always have an excuse to use your hero power no matter what. It's not like you're using your hero power just to buff with the Mookless. You're drawing a card as well, so it feels like you can fit that in a lot more effectively than you can with some other classes.
It's interesting because there's a couple of lines that Reynad can take. You can choose to life tap and, of course, buff the Floating Watcher, but he can also Implosion and then use Mortal Coil to clean up and also impact the board a little bit more. Ooh, Knife Juggler and Implosion combo for next turn. I think that's just going to... That might just put the nail in the coffin, unless Firebat has the Consecration. That third Mortal Coil.
Another one.
Another one. And he will coil here, and then that allows him to pick off the Zombie Chow trade.
Yeah, so weak to Consecration here, but his hand is just really powerful by itself. A Demon Wrath, it did seem like you have a lot of Demon synergy with Implosion. He put Void Caller in his deck, which means that he has, at least a couple of big minions. Yeah.
Oh, well, I like it. He is weak to Consecration. He's weak to a lot of things, but no punish from Firebat's side. Instead, he's got the Nerubian Egg, one of the most passive cards that you can imagine right now.
Yeah.
And now Firebat will have to deal with a huge combo. Actually, his board's a little bit full for the Implosion, so he has to trade a little bit away. Let's see what happens he ends up doing here.
A Soulfire.
How much damage can you really amount here? I don't know. Not enough, probably.
Yeah, 12 plus 4, 16.
Yeah.
Plus however much Knife Juggles you can get to go to the face.
Interesting that he's trading the 2/2. He'd rather keep these 1/1s, and because they can fight a little bit more against like the spread of what Paladin can do with hero powers.
Yeah.
Divine Shields are also very vulnerable to a 1/1s. I like that.
It also makes it weaker to whatever the egg could use to trade in, because if it's a 2 attack like an Abusive Sergeant, you'd have to trade it into either Divine Shield or an A3, which wouldn't even kill it. So I think that's a really smart play.
I think this is game. I think Reynad should be able to just run away with this Floating Watcher.
Yeah.
And he's just going to crush him. Life Tap puts it to 10 damage, and Soulfire puts it at 17. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, he's 1 damage off. My apologies. Yeah, I forgot that he used Mortal Coil. I was like, yeah, because last time I was like, oh, you can Mortal Coil some other minions and then draw and some other stuff. But right now, in this situation, he's a little bit off. Discounted by 1.
You can throw out a Mookless Champion if he wants and use the hero power, which would buff the Ancient Watcher up to an 11-6.
Sure, and then you put him down to, let's see, 10, 11, 14.
3.
Yeah, you put him down to Soulfire range for next turn.
Yeah.
That's also a possibility. Hopefully your opponent doesn't heal to some capacity if he has a T heal bot.
Yeah, but they still have to get through a Mookless Champion, an 11-6, and now he draws into the Hellfire as well, so...
What's the interaction between Hellfire and Floating Watcher? Does the Floating Watcher get buffed before it dies?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Well, Firebat does have an opportunity to deal with the Floating Watcher, but it's too little too late. He just has not enough health remaining. He can draw cards, though, so maybe that changes if he has an ability to heal with a Farseer.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough mana to play much. He'll have 1 minion left, so if he draws into Seal of Champions or some other buff card, he can deal with it, but yeah, he is going to be hit.
Okay, so looks like that's about it for game number 1. Reynad runs away with a Void Caller power powerful combo with Floating Watcher. That card can just snowball out of control. You know, people look at Floating Watcher being the ancestor to Inspire decks because you would want a hero power to keep it growing. And it actually feels very similar to Cavaldi Raider with, of course, higher upside. It's a demon. It also has ability to gain buff anytime it gets damaged. So if you Hellfire or if you, like, Flame Imp.
Elven Archer your face.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
if you want to get creative, you know.
Yeah, there's
those
a lot
are
of
also possibilities.
a lot of things you can do to buff that up other than Cavaldi Raider.
All right, so looks like Reynad being off to start off with a strong win here. We're going to go into the game number 2, but before we do that, let's head over to the stage floor and see what Wade, our dealer, has in store for the bettings of this round.
So very powerful win right there in game number 1 from Reynad, but we are going to see a switch from Firebat for his deck. Going to be playing on Druid, going up against Reynad's Druid. Reynad, you won game 1, so you're going to have the first action here in the betting.
I mean, I guess I'm supposed to bet since I'm up a game, so I'll raise 75. I'll call.
All right, so a call, and that'll up the pot by a total of 150. Good luck in game 2.
All right, so once again, a 600 total pot going into game number 2.
I don't get it, man. I don't understand what's so funny about it, but it just makes me laugh. It just tickles me. Just watching him just like, meh.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, he calls.
Yeah.
It's like a mixture of, like, expectation and disappointment and just kind of, like, moving along, kind of like treading like a horse, plowing through the fields. All right, going into game number 2 here, Druid versus Druid. Keep in mind that we know that Firebat has a heavy emphasis on the ramp, but, you know, he has a turn 1 and 2 play. Reynad being on the coin allows him to smooth the curve, though, and he's got some beasts. He's got Druid of the Flame, Druid of the Saber. Makes me wonder if he has cards like Wild Walker and Druid of the Fang. Those could be really powerful swing cards in this matchup.
Dan, I can't even remember the last time I was this excited to cast a Druid versus Druid Mirror, but I'm excited.
You are excited. Good. 2 Druids of the Sabers with Stealth allow him to pick up really good trades. Firebat, though, he's getting the right curve at the right time. The fact that, you know, he's going to be hitting cards like Force Tank Max all game, and he might end up being in a situation late game where he gets Zombie Chow, and that's not what he wants. So the fact that he gets both those draws immediately with the early game curve is huge.
So he's going to pick up, though, because if we remember back, Firebat does have that really heavy curve and picks up the Deathwing, which is not going to help him for quite a while, at least. He needs to buy time until that turn 8 when he can play Force Tank Max, so we need to draw into something to play on turn 5, turn 6, and turn 7.
Wow, Fuel Lightbane with Mark of the Wild. That is like a build your own Master Jouster. If you can put it out as a 5/6, gain Divine Shield. And you don't even have to joust. Just have to give up 2 cards, I guess.
Wow, so strictly better than a
I like it. Druid the Fang
Master
doesn't
Jouster.
challenge a Zombie Chow stat for stat unless you go 5/2.
Yeah. Well, Reynad goes ahead and plays it now because he realizes that probably not likely that Firebat's going to be able to deal with it right away. Oh, curving out.
Oh, look, you're just going to have to wait to see Firebat's reaction to Reynad wombo comboing him.
Such a sick trade. Reynad is going to float mana during this, but his other play would just be a Druid of the Fang, which is a lot weaker.
Well, actually, Druid the Fang, you do have some reasonable argument because, you know, we were looking at this play originally of how strong it is because you get the official trade, but it's like Druid the Fang, if you play as a 5/2 and you challenge and you pick up, there is a trade available for a 2/3. It's like, it's definitely a weaker play, but I wouldn't say it's like out of the question.
Yeah.
Oh man, Firebat, he's looking like, well, can't really answer that.
It's just going to trade for so much because at the moment he'll have to even hero power it next turn just for his board to be able to trade into it. And that would be given, you know, Reynad doesn't even develop anything else, but his curve is just really nice.
Well, most likely we're on plan Deathwing if we can get to that point. Oh, wait, hold on. One Master Jouster deserves another. Oh, okay. He's just going to use his hero power to clean up because he doesn't trust his Joust. He doesn't feel like he's that good at Hearthstone.
Which is funny because his curve is really high. So if you played his Master Jouster and it actually lost, that would be the ultimate slap in the face. You build your curve high, you pick Master Jouster because of it, and then you basically just got upgraded.
Okay. Just want to go 2-5-2s. Oh, I love it. Oh, wait, what?
Oh.
Mix and matching. Okay, he doesn't want to die to Starfall, excuse me. But I would love it to see 2 uprooted birds here. It'd be really awesome.
He loves the wobbling runs. Oh, man.
Yeah.
He's even got a second Master Jouster, so.
Yeah.
Dude,
if they both hit, that would have been pretty nuts. Because then he could stall long enough to maybe play Deathwing. But now the Savage Roar.
It's 24 damage exactly, I think.
Yeah.
It's 29 for sure. It's funny because these are the 2 players that actually had that interaction at a sealed event. Super relevant.
The series was so fast.
Yeah.
It's game over. Series over. Reynad has won the 600 pot. And looks like Firebat was not able to stop it.
Yeah.
The Master Jouster needed to hit. He might have had an opportunity to double Master Jouster, but
unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little bit. Yeah, that was really quick though. It felt like Reynad's overall power level for his decks was just a little bit higher, especially with that Warlock deck. We didn't get to see the whole thing, but it was just impressive. Yeah, having the Fuel Lightbane and Mark of the Wild, it's not something you can count on every game.
Mm-hmm. So Zhao still not having landed for any player here. At least the player that's wanted it. And I guess the Master Jouster has taken his first loss today. So with that, the series is over. Looks like we're going to sit down and interview them just to kind of get a feeling of how they're doing because the players have traveled here to compete. So it looks like we're getting ready to head over down there. I feel like even though Firebat lost, he can definitely retool, his, kind of regroup and see what he's got. Taking a look at the schedule, he'll be playing up against Trump later today after Trump takes on Zolay. So that's going to be pretty fun to look forward to.
Yeah. So he might have a chance to look over and rethink a strategy, maybe open up with a different deck or open up with a different betting strategy. But looking forward to see exactly how that's going to play out.
All right, so let's head over to Wade, our dealer, down to stage 4 for a couple words with our players.
Congratulations on that win, Reynad. That game number 2, also very quick. So the pot is yours. There you go. What did you think about that? I got a chance to watch your first game, not the second all the way, but the first game on your Warlock seemed extremely powerful. A couple of good combo cards. I know you might not want to talk about the deck in its entirety, but what's your confidence level with that deck right now?
Well, I definitely think the Druid deck's a lot better between the 2. The Warlock deck has a lot of powerful cards, and I just happened to draw all of them in the perfect order in game 1, so the deck looked insane, but it's not really as good as that draw might lead people to believe. So I was really lucky game 1.
And then I know beforehand, Firebat, you didn't feel super confident with your decks. Maybe got out of the match putting in as little as you could, betting your chips and stuff. What's your plan going forward?
Well, basically just keep trying to limp every round. I mean, I wasn't able to get almost any removal cards in any of my classes except for Hunter. I got 2 quick shots. I think that was the only removal I got in my entire draft. And turns out removal cards are pretty good in Hearthstone.
All right. Well, did anything? Was there anything unexpected, or was sealed this first draft exactly what you imagined it would be?
I've played the format before. I played on Reynad's team in the Red Bull Team Brawl, so I've played sealed before. Had some experience with it. Kind of knew what Reynad's drafting process was because I was on his team with him before and how he drafts. And yeah, there's nothing I could do to stop it, man. The combos were too strong. I was just really hoping there was nothing coming out of that Void Caller. I figured his turn 4 or turn 5, maybe nothing will come out, and stuff came out.
Yeah, absolutely did. What's your thoughts right now, Reynad, on the betting process? What's your strategy now that you have a few more chips than maybe some of your opponents will?
I guess you're supposed to max bet if you're up a game, and other than that, I don't know, it's just based on how strong you gauge your decks to be against the average deck. So I haven't watched the other matches. I'll probably just max bet the rest of the way through like a donkey because I can. So yeah, I don't know.
All right, well, congratulations again on your win. Firebat, good luck in your second match of the day. Thank you, guys.
Max bet like a donkey. Oh, man.
Bet until stuff comes out.
Yep.
A job well done to Reynad. He takes his first series. I don't know what it is about Reynad and non-constructed formats, but he's definitely got some very good fortune on his side today, being able to take a very strong win over ex-world champion Firebat. Our next match coming up is Trump from Team Solomid up against Archon Zalea. We have the drafts done. That should be a good time, and I will spoil something. We do have Priest in one of these guys' lineups, meaning that all 9 classes have been represented in this seal tournament. That already is something worth noting to be excited about.
Yeah, in the first draft, so the first 3 matches.
Yeah, that's right.
We're going to get to see that. So we didn't even have to wait until the second draft or towards the end of the day when the final. So
Cool
really
stuff.
excited to see what's in store for that Priest deck.
All right, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have Trump versus Soleil here at the World Series of Sealed. Stay tuned.